pedal to the gas, we're watching it all. Covering the courtroom, big case or small. Laugh when we can, cry when we must, but it's all real talk, you can count on us. We're not the pros, just fans who care. With popcorn in hand and a comfy chair. And every twist, we're right there. Together like we're all in the witness chair. This is the Broken Baker, where the trials come alive, where the chat is wild and the vibes survive. We're watching the worst of what people do, but we keep it light, yeah, that's our truth. It's the only place for crime, and it feels just right. We bring the justice talk into your night. So hit that stream, don't miss the call. At the Broken Baker, we cover it all. Oh yeah. We're just flaming with the view, but we ask the things the world wants to. Digging through the facts, side by side. Even when it's dark, we bring the light. No clickbait, no fake feels, just truth and the highs and the reels. With the chat that roasts and rises, we're just here for the case and the vibe. This is the Broken Baker, where the stories unfold with a smile in the heart, even when it's cold. Yeah, we cover the bad with a wink and a grin. Where the real talk starts, come on, jump in. It's the only place to be, can't you see? For trials and truth, it's BBTV. The Broken Baker, where the trials come alive. Yeah, we'll be here, trial of the trial. Yeah.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever we are. It's about 25, 65, 25, 22. I don't know. I did my spiel and found out I hadn't hit go live. So I had to do it all over again. It was a really good opening. You should go back and watch it. You can't because I'm an idiot. Today, we will not be covering a court case per se. This is a release hearing. If you remember back in April, we covered the last hearing where Morgan Geyser asked to be released. But because of the halfway house they were planning to put her in, the family of her victim in the Slender Man case said she's going to be, 4 miles away from where the victim is. Let's do this. She was then on the 17th of July granted release from prison. And now we have the hearing about that release. Hey, before I go, you were watching Ellie Ellie. I don't know who Ellie Ellie is, but hey, probably way better than me. Hey, Burkhard. But for those of you who haven't been around and who, most of you are young folks, you can't remember back in 2014. It was a different time. Zach was in his early 70s. He was not as annoying as he is today. And in Waukesha, Wisconsin, which apparently is the crime central of Middle America, there was a sleepover where Morgan Geyser and her friend Anissa Weier thought that they would please the Slender Man. Remember that weird thing with the Slender Man that was all the rave? They wanted to please him, so they lured another young lady into the woods and stabulated her 19 times. Guess who is number one now? Iris? I'm guessing Iris. Iris is always number one. But thank you, Zach, for reminding us that Iris is number one. Thank you. Oh, the attempted honor killing. Yeah, I didn't want to, because first of all, there's no honor in what they did. We had a very bad case of that in Denmark as well. I wish we could show stuff because I really wanted to show you that. But there's also something where there will be a religious backlash to those cases. You can't forget it. You live there. Oh. Ooh. I don't think either of them should be out, but I understand we don't want to just throw them in prison forever. I just don't know a viable solution that is fair to the victim. Yes, that's also something we talked a lot about. But Anissa has been out for some time. Thank you, Spire. Yeah, put him in his place, Dad. And before everyone starts asking, I don't know why I still have this stupid number thing and other people doesn't have it. It's YouTube and YouTube alone. Hey, I don't mind. Oh, I don't care. But what was really sad about this case was they were 12 years old at the time. She was later diagnosed as a schizophrenic, and she pled guilty to attempted first degree. And she was then put in a mental institute. And as I said, today is the hearing that's going to finalize her conditional release. The plan was approved on July 17th, but they need to wrap up the last steps. The steps would be where she's going to live and what restrictions will she be under. And again, her co-defendant, Anissa, was released in 2021. If you remember when we covered it back in the day, she seems to have a lot of mental problems. And they found out that she had been reading certain books that had a theme where you could say, is she healed, or does she still live in a world where she have fantasies that could be a danger to other people? But the shrink said, well, she's fine. Hey, Justice Jane. And this name thing, I hate it. I don't think she should be released. She masterminded the entire thing. Well, she was also sick, so she's never really been in prison. She's been in a mental institution. And they claim that she is as fixed as she can be. But I think now, didn't she also have gender dysphoria? I think they talked about the last time, or she had some kind of, because all of a sudden she came in with her hair cut short, and I think she had some gender dysphoria. I think, let's see what the release, the rules for the release will be. I would keep her under close observation. I think she still have severe mental health problems. And not to say anything about Wisconsin, because it can be a good place, but I just fear that the system is kind of like, if you watched my Crystal Sorry video, not a lot of you did, the system has a lot of cracks and a lot of people fall through them, and the system just don't really care about it. And yeah, it'll be fine. And then they go out and do bad stuff again. We have the same problem in Denmark where, yeah, we'll put you in the mental hospital for 3 days, and then you come down and you're fine again. Then you go out and punch someone else in the face. I didn't feel I was 100% convinced when we watched it in April. Mental health awareness is always necessary to have available. Unfortunately, the US administration don't really care about mental health, just making money. It's the same all over the world, I am sad to tell you. The Western world is ravaged with mental health problems. And I think one of the things that is going wrong is we think we can fix everyone, and we can fix them by being nice to them. And I don't think the solution is being nice to everyone and just give them, because what we do in Denmark is saying, okay, yeah, you're sick, you're really sick. Let's put you in an apartment. We'll pay for your apartment and you can just stay there. Yeah, but I still hear the voices. The microwave oven is telling me, go to Texas and find the fisherman and make him the new Job. But yeah, that'll be fine. And when I then try to burn down my apartment, they'll say, well, we're going to put you in a mental hospital for a week, and then we're going to give you a new apartment and let you be alone. And some people are just broken eggs. And sadly, in the Western world, we have kind of become. Anyone watch Jurassic Park, where he tells Hammond, "So you're playing God." It's kind of like that. We just, yeah, we can fix everything. Just give them some pills and then let them loose. I'm not saying you should put them in institutions like you had back in the day, especially in America, where there was this lady who went undercover and showed you how bad institutions were. But I'm actually pro that we have some kind of institutions where they can be treated very good, but are under supervision and they have help and easy access to help. But the problem is we are like, no, they're just normal people. They just need a higher dose of medication and they will be fine. Some of them will never be fine. I have had people in court telling me they were God. Yeah, we're going to set you back out on the street. You have to talk to a therapist once a week. See you later. Bye-bye. I'm not sure that man really should be walking around in the streets, but that's how our system is, yeah, even though you believe you're God and that the toaster oven is telling you to fill a barrel with kittens and just go to, that's probably not the best place for you. You probably would have been better if you were in an environment where you have a good life, you have everything you need, but you have someone to make sure you don't hurt yourself or hurt others. I know institutions were really bad back in the day, but we have had some where they were living a good life. They had beautiful buildings. It was kind of like a retirement home. And I think that's much better for some of the worst cases. Instead of just being parked in an apartment and some lady from the city council will call you once a month and said, hey, have you burned down your house today? No. Okay, see you next month. I think that's the big problem we have, that we are way too lackadaisical with the problems they have. We just believe we are God and we can fix every mental disease. And mental diseases are not a broken arm. We see it with clinical depressions. We see it with postpartum depression. People are just, yeah, well, have you tried yoga? That's not what you need. You need help. And we don't give them help. We just give them a pill and say, we helped you. Jen, thank you for a month. 1 year already. It feels like a year. Glad to have you here. And Mama Taz and I have had a baby. Happy anniversary. Love you all. Well, love you back. I'm so far behind. Only fan. Lurkers United checking in. Thank you for lurking and thank you for 4 months. And Skybell, a baby and 2 months. Nearly a year here, won't miss a sec. Thank you, Skybell. I'm so far behind because I go on my rant. You can't make a cake without breaking some eggs. You just need to add some more ingredients. Support therapy and meds. Yes, but the problem is we just give them the meds and then say, yeah, that's fine. Call us if you have a problem. The problem is if you live in that world. I had a lady who started writing emails to me when I was in city council that the camera in the bank was a part of our police investigation service is called PET. So she was writing how she was being surveilled through the bank cameras around town because they were out to get her. And she didn't want to take her medicine because the CIA used her for experiments. And you're sitting there thinking, what am I to do with this? And I contacted because I'm just I'm just an elected member of city council. So I called the people who work for the city and said, what the hell? I'm getting these weird messages. Yeah, she'll do that now and again. I said, can someone get her some help? Yeah, well, in a couple of months, she'll go back to the psych ward and stay there, and then she'll come out and be better. And the 4 years I was elected to city council, we could tell when she was admitted, and we can tell when she wasn't, because that's when she started writing emails again. She never got better, because when they finally put her in the psych ward on red papers, as we call it, she would then be there for a month, be medicated. When she's medicated, she's normal, or as normal as she can be. The second she comes out, she believes the CIA is giving her the medication, so she won't take it, and then the delusion takes over again. That woman would have a better life if she was in some assisted living facility where she could be medicated and supervised, is my opinion. Pernilla and I have had 2 babies. Thank you, Pernilla. And Jemima of 20 months. Oh, you've been here longer than Pernilla? Oh my. Thank you, Jemima. Hey, Andy. You're loafing a little this morning. Well, then if your son keeps you running, you can cut down a little bit on the frolicking. Oh, interesting. Don't get bitten. The old mental institutions were better in some ways, but at least in Denmark, it did also involve a bit of local corruption. Those who ran them were local kings, and some took advantage. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But there's always, when there's government money, there's corruption, even though Denmark is the least corrupt place in the world. And we just had a party leader try and buy 2 mandates for his... Don't talk about it. It's politics. Lurker check-in. Lol. Me too. Hi, Baker. 10 months. Thank you, Spacey Stacy. Buenos dias, Betsy. That's not my experience. When affordable mental health issues are considered to be treated in a more holistic way, and these treatments exist, and the medication is complex but can be contributed. Well, what works for you works for you. The problem is just that I feel most treatments I see is, yeah, we'll get you kind of normal and we'll just put some pills in you. You need to follow up and keep them normal. That's my problem. If you are, because that's another problem. Mentally ill people doesn't see themselves as... I'm just trying to check if they started. They were supposed to start 4 minutes ago. Nope, nothing there. A lot of people who live in this world don't see themselves as being sick. So if it helps you to have a more holistic approach to your... Oh, just as I said it, something happened. Yes, we're about to go live. If you are aware enough, then you say, okay, I'm feeling a little bad. I probably have a depression creeping in. I need to be aware of that. I have this really great therapist, or I have this, I like to use this or that to get out of it. Fine. But the problem is, a lot of these heavy cases have no self-awareness of their illness. And they won't believe you when you tell them they are ill. I had a person telling me he was Jesus, and he believed it 100%. And he believed that anyone who tried to treat him was sent out by Satanists, because Satan wanted to make him do bad stuff so people wouldn't believe in Jesus anymore. That man will never, ever go to someone who can help them. And I'm all for you use the method that works for you. I don't care if it's a holistic approach or it's more clinical. If it works for you, do it. It's really important. I have had depressions back in the day. It's not fun. Life is really, really not fun when you have it. But you need to recognize that you have some form of illness. And the problem is a lot of these people who do stuff this bad has absolutely no idea that they're sick. It's the world that's sick. And how do you help them? Because they will not go and get, do you call it, I don't know what it's called. I used to have a lot of eczema and stuff like that. And I used acupuncture to treat that. And then when I was in my depression, because I had a stress-related depression, all my eczema bloomed again. And I started using, we call it kinesiology. It's more like vibration, and it sounds weird. I didn't believe in it. My mom used it, and it helped me. I still didn't believe in it. It's more where they put hands and transfer energy, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? But it worked. So hey, there's more between heaven and earth than we know. And if it works for you, please do it. Consider your own mental health, especially in a world like today's, where there's a lot of things that can really get people down. Well, yeah. There is little to no insight into the illness for people who suffer psychosis. It's very sad. It's because you can't do anything. You can't put a bandage on and fix it. And not, well, some psychoses are the same, but it's so unique to the person. So it's really hard to treat. And that's why most of them will just be put on heavy medication that'll just keep them slow. I've seen people who I knew a guy who used to be something. He used to be something in the military, and he had a big, I'm a big important guy. And then he lost his job. And within 6 months, his world just crashed. And he got angry. So they just dosed him with heavy tranquilizers. So when his day started, he was his old self. He was a little bit condish because, yeah, he couldn't accept that he wasn't that role in the military anymore. But you knew that, and you could just keep a little bit off. And then he started taking his medication. Half an hour later, he would be the guy sitting in a chair with a cigarette and just sleeping and dropping in his lap. And that was every day. It's just a medical straitjacket. The best therapy is get nature. Rebut yourself. Well, do what works for you. I'm not one to say that you shouldn't take meds, or you should take meds, or you should go to a chiropractor, or the ones who press you under your feet, or use faith healing, or whatever. What works for you. And the most important is that you're conscious about if you're feeling a little bit, I'm not myself, get help. I had asthmatic eczema, it was called. I grew out of it. I've never had an inhaler or anything, but yeah, that's it was combined, but I never had the breathing problems. Yeah, and that's the problem, because what is it that you deal with? And a lot of people will feel that the medicine doesn't make them feel like themselves, and that's because normally there's a voice talking to you, or you feel something or see something, and you don't do it on the medicine, so you're not you. So let's drop the medicine. I know who I am when I'm not on medicine. Well, I try to let's make it a little more personable. My mother-in-law had major depressive disorder. It was a huge struggle. Eventually, we had success with ECT, but that freaks people out because of the history of the treatment. There's a really good program on Danish TV2. If any of you are in Denmark or have access to it, it's called The Institution. This is the place where you put very dangerous, criminal, insane people in Denmark. And we are shown their treatment, the ones who want to participate, because some of them are way too dangerous to talk to. And there's a guy, he gets ECT every week, and he just seems like a docile giant. And then I read what he was in there for. Oh my effing God. He had, I think, 5 or 7 attempted unalivings. But when he got his brain scrambled once a week, he was calm. He didn't have the reactions, and I think kind of like the lobotomy and stuff like that. It was the baby steps, and yeah, some of it worked. Some of it was really stupid, and some of it might have a use again today, but it's giving people heavy tranquilizers, not kind of the same as just lobotomizing them. We just have to put pills into them so they just vegetate in a chair. Yeah, I really haven't gotten into that case as much as I wanted to. I was actually, we have been talking about it, but thank you so much. I'll read up on it. Cigarette smoking is a symptom of schizophrenia. Well, I smoked. And the voices tell me I'm all right. I've never had any trouble. Both my kids had it as kids as well, and my grandson has it now. But yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I can't deal with an unmedicated Marissa. Ooh. My oldest son has treatment-resistant depression. It's a struggle. Yeah, and when you meet people, if you haven't dealt with it yourself, and you meet people who have a touch of depression, you're sitting there thinking, just snap out of it. Come on now. Why the hell are you so glum all day? And then you meet some people who are really depressed, or you try it on your own body, and then you know, oh, it's because you don't know why you're crying. You don't know why you're sad. You don't know why everything just is bad. I just wanted to lay in front of the TV with all the blinds down and no one should talk to me. That's where I was. I just didn't want to do anything. And then 3 months later, I was back to normal. Whenever I can feel okay now, you're kind of getting the sad. I'll go, especially get it in the wintertime because I live a very dark place. I'll hit the, as we call them, cancer grill. I'll go take some sun. I'll use the sunbed, and I have Philips Hue lights. I'll set them to daylight settings so you get more light to try and because I'm aware that I can get a little glum when it's dark outside. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, and that's the problem. You have to figure out exactly what helps Zach, what helps Marissa. Nothing helps Zach, and what helps Fedorowski. And they can all have the same symptoms, but it's wildly different, the triggers to it. My mother-in-law is the snap out of it person. I was too. I couldn't see why people went around being sad all the time. There was enough joy in life, or you could just have some alcohol. And it kicked my ass. And I learned that But I also learned you have to be proactive when you find out, okay, I have a little slight risk of a depression. I have to be proactive when I can feel it coming on. You have to do this, get more exercise, get more sun, get out more, because I have a tendency to just isolate. Voices in my head tells me to have a cigarette. Then while I smoke it, another voice tells me I need to quit. Now I'm concerned. Yeah, that's the big problem when the voices start arguing. I've heard that used the way we use it today is way different than the 50s. Yeah, daylight lamp. Yeah. I've had one of those where I had to sit with it for 15 minutes shining into my face. Now I just turn my hue light into daylight settings. Yeah, up here I started taking D vitamin last winter because Fedorowski and I was talking about melatonin and D vitamin some chats, and it actually uh, really helped me get through the winter without I had that gloom that I normally get. If voices in your head are your biggest problem, you're probably mostly okay. Well, not when they tell me to do the stuff to sack that they tell me. Red light makes you sleepy, blue light makes you up. Oh, I don't have any hue in here, but the daylight setting on that is that cold, white, very white stuff. You can get them for around your TV. It's so awesome. I don't like having the hue strip on. I used to have Philips TVs. I don't like it. It annoys me because I'll get confused. The squirrels has enough problems to staying still as it is. Remember a couple of years ago that a study showed magic mushroom helped with some anxiety, I think. When used in controlled environment, I don't remember specifics of it. Yes, it has been shown that some shrooms or LSD can help, but the problem is a lot of people will go overboard and say, oh, well, it helps. Let me just chuck it all day long. And then you just get dependent on those instead. It's the same with people self-medicating on everything else. Yeah, that stupid voice. I It's called Ambilight when it's built into the TV, and it'll change with the scenes on the TV, and it really annoyed me. My kids loved it. I hated it. Oh, I have the Hue Street. Yeah, because the Ambilight will change. It's to try and make the screen seem bigger. So it'll project a light. So if it's dark in this side and bright in this side, the lighting behind the TV will try and emulate the color screen that's on the. And I just get confused because there's all this light going on. I just want to watch my movie. Hmm. Yeah, I'm sure a doctor gave it to you at that festival. Dr. Feelgood. You're from Wisconsin. These cases are so disturbing. They are, but again, it's from 2012. It's not. And yes, I am still waiting for a signal to come up. So I don't know why they haven't started. It's supposed to have started 20 minutes ago. I like Philips Ambilight. You can switch it off. Yeah, I switched it off and then my kids switched it on. So you'll just leave it on a constant color. But I don't like that. Marissa, I don't like that. See? Yeah, it's sensory overload. And well, I might not be the best person for it because I've always had when I'm reading a book, I need music as well. And when I'm watching TV, I'm also watching YouTube on my iPad. I might be a little squirrely in the brain. That could be my problem. Who knew? Probably that's why I'm good at multitasking while I'm streaming. Can we finish Rentala this week? No, we can't, because it's a 9-day trial. But if nothing else come up tomorrow, we can take a day more. Well, as long as you have a prescription pad, we can be friends. What drugs are we talking about? We're not talking about we're not talking about special drugs. We're just talking about mental illnesses. You watched this trial when it was first done. They pled guilty, so I don't know how much, but yeah, it was horrible. I don't hate everything. I like you. I hate that you don't want to bring guests on my show because I would like to have some more guests on the show. Now there's a down period, but every time I try and say, hey, can we get this guest? Can we get this? You try and say, well, I'm going to quit my job. I never heard about Kratom. I saw it. I actually saw. Oh, that's 2 days ago. I saw something about it. I've never ever heard about it. I don't do drugs. I never really did do any drugs, so I don't know anything about this. So when I saw that, I was like, "What the hell?" Apparently, it's some kind of psychedelic. No, I'm not taking a day off. I'm waiting. I just have to fill time until something happens, or they say go away now. I never had cluster headaches, but after doing shrooms back in the day, I haven't had a regular headache in decades now. I can feel it coming on, but that's it. Well, I'm glad I never did any of that. I have given you multiple guests I wanted to invite on. I said, "Can you get me Dave Yannetti?" He said, "I don't want to listen to him." How about Alan Jackson? He doesn't want to slum it with you, you ape. Alessi? No. I wouldn't even know. Imagine degrading him by sending an invite. Well, could I be the only one who has ever talked to Miss Little? Because I was really impressed by her. You don't need more women in your life. Hey, claws back in. And then I went down the ladder and said, "Hey, can you get me Aiden? You got me Aiden. Thank you for that. Can you get me? Can you get me?" And scraping the barrel, I said, "Can you get me Twisted Tragedies? Can you get me Kate the Crusty Pantyhose? Maybe have Plevin come back and we can fact check his book." And then you used words that I haven't heard since I was in the Navy. And I really didn't like where you told me to stick my Stanley Cup. I felt that was unnecessary, Marissa. You said no to Krusty and Twisted as well. Yeah. I agree, Wildcat. There's a pill for it. We try to do it. Try to have it fun. Well, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't know if they want to go. And I'm a small channel. I'm barely scraping 18,500 subscribers. They probably have offers for every channel. Was it yesterday EDB had Alessia on, or is it today? I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I saw some of it. That's and I'm not as good at the structured questions. I'll just ask stupid stuff. I don't know hillbilly crime. That's you people know so many more than I do, because I don't have. Someone tagged me on Twitter and said, "Why aren't you showing these videos?" And I was like, "I don't know who this person is." It's not because I don't want to talk to people. Due to technical issues at the courthouse, we will not be able to live stream this hearing. Well, F you. You're killing me, Smalls. I know I need to slim down. I promised myself next year when I fly to the Americas, if I'm getting invited back, and Wallstone will promise me not to give me the coof again. I want to have a better experience flying, because being a big guy in a small plane isn't fun. I don't know. Plevin did a stream last night. Oh, I bet it was a great stream. I love that because he has me blocked, so I can't see when he attacks me. And he had that yesterday where he well, his version of what happened on my stream was a little bit different than what I remember from our stream, because randomly this popped up on my Twitter. After this, I started following Broken Baker and watched his live with Plevin, where he reviewed Plevin's book of fiction. Watching Plevin's childish meltdown and lack of conversational self-control was comedy gold. Please never take it down. And then Plevin comes back, and I thought first, no, this is Plevin's fake account. It's the one who tries to be Plevin. The guy had no idea what he was talking about, or even the basic facts of the case. Remember, Plevin is the one who claims it happened on a Friday, not a Saturday. Broken Baker, I mean, arguing with idiots isn't the fun you think it is. And I have to agree, arguing with Plevin wasn't that fun. It was more hair-wrenching stupid. For example, I revealed on his show for the first time that I met with Higgins, and rather than jump on that revelation, he pretends I'm making it up. No, I don't. Just don't give a fuck. I really, Plevin, the reason why I didn't jump on it, and I did actually jump on it, is I don't give a fuck about you meeting with Higgins. Higgins is a big old nobody. You are a big old nobody. And you're an idiot. And you can't keep a conversation on track. And I told you, I just want to talk about your book. I don't want to do the attack. I don't want to just make fun of you. Let's talk about your book. And he said, well, I want one where you ask a question, I ask a question. But that's not what the stream is about. Well, I think it's fair. Okay, let's do it. Oh, by the way, Broken Baker is a clown. I am. And a grifter. Oh, he was good with Bob. Bob is a good guy, too. Well, it's... I was talking about it. Was it this morning? I did a morning show today. That sometimes interviews work well and sometimes they just don't work. I know a lot of people had a lot of opinions about Aiden's Horror Tour, and it can be really, really hard to do an interview if you don't have chemistry. I've had guests on where I didn't feel it. I'm pretty sure they didn't feel it. And we did what we did. And I thanked them, and I'm more than happy that I had them on. And they probably won't get an invite again, or that's the business also on the YouTubes, that, hey, not everyone works with everyone. And some are just really good at being the back and forth. Okay, let's have a conversation. Other people are really good at, hey, I'm going to send you 20 questions. These 20 questions are the 20 questions I want to touch on. I can't do that. And some people are good at getting the 20 questions, and others are good at, hey, let's just freeball it and see where we go from here. I like the freeballing. That's why I don't wear pants when I stream. But it's not for everyone. And hey, it's no knock on the people that hasn't worked on my channel. It's most likely my fault. It is my fault. People who have had me on where I didn't work, it's also because I am a bad guest. But sometimes it just don't work, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine, because imagine if every YouTube channel did the same interview every time. You would get bored as well listening to it. Get an appointment for what? Yeah. I am not referring to Zach. Oh, Bob was fanboying. Yeah. But unless it was good, and I think as a lawyer, you would be I wouldn't have the same view on him as people have who are lawyers, because I'm not a lawyer. I would probably try and attack some different angles. I would be really interested to learn how. That's one of the things I really wish we talked more about. How, because you have that unique jury system where they get to look at the jurors, look at their questionnaires. I would love to hear, how do you choose who you want on? What is it? Is it specific? Is it how they look? Is it just how your gut feel? Because it's such a pivotal element of the trial, getting a jury that you believe will help you. But how do you determine? Is it the education level? Is it their job? What is it that makes a good juror? And is it the same juror in every case? I think that could be an interesting question to try and ask a lawyer about. Maybe Marissa, if she wasn't on strike, she could get me that jury consultant they had on who was a juror on the first case, because I feel that's a really interesting part of a court case we never ever talk about, because we don't sit and listen to the voir dire because it's 5 days of just asking the same question. But it's funny, how would you rate who's good for you? Because you don't know them. You just have a questionnaire and you can look at them. And is it a personal feeling? Do you know you work good with a certain demographic? What is it that makes a good juror? I think that's a good question. Yes, they are also working on a podcast. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm one of the nicest streamers. Oh, I'm a big a-hole. Just ask my mods. They yell at me all the time. Oh, when they press you under the feet. Reflexology. No, we call it something else. But you know, the pressure thingy thing. I could put a banner on, because now we are just yammering. Technical problems in court. No live feed. Whip. So right now I'm just circling the drain and trying to see if something else I can talk about. Boop, 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 boop. Who is Zach? Zach is... You don't want to know. Zach has a weird fetish of kissing fish and annoying me. Casually, Kiki, you as well. Oh, you were kidding. I don't know when people are kidding. I heard the attorneys say that don't usually pick engineers because they overthink things. Yeah, could be. Yeah, Zach likes to get time out. The Krusty hearing. Yeah, let's talk about that one. Krusty had her hearing yesterday. Oh, that's the wrong way. For breaking her restraining order. And her lawyer didn't show up in court. And the judge apparently was mad as a bee in a bonnet. I don't know what a bonnet is, but apparently bees don't like it. And he never showed up. So she got a continuance. Imagine having a shitty lawyer who doesn't show up for court. Apparently it was traffic problems or something, but the judge didn't like it. Tomorrow is the fake victim's next turn to go to court. Of course, I will be pestering Marissa to see if we can get a Zoom link for that as well. If people don't know. Oh, maybe I should share the screen instead of just doing this. This is Lindsay Gattani, who criminal complaint issued from electronics application. Complaint issued with a summons statement as facts field. Event canceled for following reason, but it's supposed to go tomorrow. This is when Lindsay called another woman and told her, I think she said she was going to come over and unalive the woman and her daughter. And apparently you're not allowed to say stuff like that to someone else. So that was a big old problem for Lindsay. Lindsay, if you don't know her, is the lady who used to date Aiden Turtle Boy, and she has quite a checkered past herself. But I love that all the people who have been instrumental to try and get Aiden hooked on witness intimidation charges are now all getting struck with restraining order violations and threatening people, and it's amazing. Bonnets are an old-timey hat like on the Little House on the Prairie. Oh, why doesn't Bees like that? I don't know. I don't know stuff. Kate Krusty squeals like a horse in the sack if you hit her G-spot. Oh. That was not nice. What's on the door behind you? It is a piece of cloth that when I had my grandson down here, I hung it to try and be like a sound barrier, because audio is just waves. So if it gets stuck on something, or it won't be as noisy, because he squealed a little bit when he was happy. So I hung it in front of my door and I didn't take it down. It looks kind of like an entrance to a 19th century whorehouse, I'm told. Yeah, that was a vomit break. I was just thinking on. Nope. Imagine Krusty naked. The smell alone, yeah. Yeah, that's anyone remember that? Was it scary? The spin-off of Scream, where a lady is gonna have a sexual relation for the first time, and the guy is taking her panties off, and there's just an afro popping up in his head. I think it's something like that with Krusty. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Was there a victim in the trial we watched yesterday? Yes, there was. He was found guilty in murder. It took them 90 minutes. We were just about to go on Words on Stream, and they came back, found him guilty in murder, which I think was appropriate, because I didn't buy his, well, I have to self-defense myself on a public road. I know not everyone agrees with me, but that's the beauty of having your own opinion. We are allowed one of them each. Don't think about it. Don't you think about it. Hey, Eileen. Well, it's we didn't get a live feed from court, so we just started reminiscing about other stuff. Scary movie, hilarious. Yeah. It's not all thoughts needs to be talked about, but we're not going to get anything from this one. Oh, by the way, I talked a little bit. I made a video about that dentist that who poisoned his wife back in. I can update you on that one if you don't know the case. I know. Who was it who covered it? Who was it who covered it? Why can't I remember her name now? What's her name? Lawyer Lee was covering it, but there wasn't allowed cameras in the courtroom. But it was. I made a script and everything. It was the dentist who was. It took them 9 hours to deliberate, and they convicted. What's his name? James Craig convicted him of unaliving his wife. If you don't know about the case, it's so sad it wasn't shown, because it was about March 2023. His wife got sick and went in and out of the hospital, and they couldn't figure out what's wrong with her. They thought she might have had some sort of virus, but her husband had been lacing her protein shakes with arsenic and tetrahydrozoline, which is what you use in eye drops. And she was then put in hospital on March 15, and allegedly that's the same day that James Craig bought a syringe containing cyanide. That he was such a smart person. When he did these Google searches, he used his computer at his dentist office, and he had the cyanide sent to his dentist office, where someone else opened the package and thought, why the hell are we getting cyanide in a dentist office? But she then passed away, and the hospital staff were like, this looks a little suspicious. And apparently in his internet history, there were things like, is arsenic detectable in autopsy? How many grams of arsenic to kill a human? How to make unaliving look like a heart attack? And can you overdose on tetrahydrozoline? Folks, use your neighbor's computer if you're going to Google search things like this. And he ordered the arsenic and the cyanide online using his work email and had it shipped to his office. And not only that, he made a fake email from the work to try and say it was his colleague who ordered the drugs. But yeah, that didn't work. And when she was had her autopsy, it showed that she had lethal levels of cyanide and arsenic and the tetrahydrozoline in her system. Even though Craig claimed, I had nothing to do with any of it. And apparently they found a syringe near her hospital room on a crash cart that tested positive for cyanide. And that led them to believe that he had taken the cyanide into the hospital and injected her while she was in hospital, sick from the rest of it. That case is stupid. That's one of those where you think, well, you're an idiot. You're going to be found out. Hold your horses. We are talking a whole nother level of stupidity, because he had been at a convention for dentistry, orthodontics, whatever it's called. So while his wife was sick, he had an affair with a lady in Texas that he flew up to Colorado where he lived and went on dates with her while his wife, who he claimed, I'm getting a divorce, yeah, a permanent one, was in the hospital bed. he had his side piece come up to Colorado and stay with him. And the prosecutor apparently alleged that he wanted out of the marriage without dealing with a divorce and custody battles. That's not the way, brother. They had 6 kids together, and he chose this way. That's the background for the case. No, it's not. Because our criminal genius didn't only unalive his wife with an electronic trail so wide Ray Charles could find it. He also, in prison, thought, hey, I'm going to fix this problem. So I'm trying to get other inmates, and remember, it's always the best people to keep a secret who's in prison. They will never take a plea deal to get out early. He wanted to unalive the lead detective. He wanted to have people do fake confessions. And he wanted them to make a video where Angela supposedly were asking for poison just in case, because he tried to say, well, she was depressed. So he offered someone $20,000 to unalive the lead detective. And he also offered another one that he would fix his mother's teeth, which teeth are expensive. But instead of getting the money, these people were like, nah, bro. And they turned him in. Super stupid. Oh, he put cameras up in the house. He's really another level of stupid. I can figure out how he became a dentist. Because he likes torture. That's the only thing. I hate dentists. Aren't dentists known for getting high on laughing gas? It's a problem in the dentist industry, yes. And he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for Google and the cops and nurses and the side chick and plane tickets and trail of arsenic and stupid looks on his face and those meddling kids. It was the Scooby snacks that got him in. Blind jokes. What? We can't do blind jokes now? It was obvious. Court TV just did an update yesterday. What? And what? Sorry. I'm not slaying the blind and the toothless. It was just a euphemism so you knew how wide and how obvious his trail was. He's the dumbest dentist ever. You haven't met Isaac C. Yankem. My daughter was a dental assistant. Every dentist she worked for was not. She now works for the school system. That's even worse. But the defense apparently went with she suicided her way out of this planet because she had been sick before and there was marital problems and she had some mental health problems. But they apparently didn't really provide any evidence of it other than, well, she had the big sad. And they couldn't really explain the cyanide, and he didn't take the stand, which is probably a good thing. But he got convicted and sentenced to life in prison yesterday. And apparently his own daughter said he is and always will be the villain in my story. That's pretty hard. And they asked them to put him away so he couldn't manipulate any more people. So that was a stupid case. One of the cases you wish you could have seen, because we would just have been sitting here with the O face constantly. Well, the White Rabbit won't let me meet him, so I'll have to talk bad about him. I hope they don't do the same with the Morphew trial. That's in Colorado as well. Colorado is really bad at showing cases. I don't like it. Well, you're just a grifter who want to live off people's misery. Hey, if it's televised, it's televised. But I think it's important that we see all of these cases because and a lot of them we actually see how bad the state is and how unjust the justice system is. So I think it works. Oh, thank you. I don't know. The only smart thing he did was not to take the stand, but that was probably all his lawyers did was tell him no about taking the stand. Yeah, he didn't seem like the smartest cookie in the tray, just to say it. Well, you have the pigs that can take care of the problem. But no, that was one of those cases you have really been looking forward, because that could have been such a weird, funny case to follow. Yes, it's sad, but I love a dumb criminal because they just make it fun to follow the cases. All the bad decisions they make, that's to me that's fun. I don't like the, oh, we're going to do this by the book. It's going to be 4 days where we just look at celebrate. I like a good stupid defendant who does everything wrong. So yeah, I wish we could have seen that. Yeah, and some states are really scared of showing courts. There's a lot of things out of New York you really want to cover, but you can't do it because there's no. Did we get a verdict in that case? Or did they just not start yet? I don't understand why they won't show court cases, because we need to do it. If you weren't streaming, you would all be watching another true crime stream. You and a grifter, we all true crime fanatics. Yeah, and it's interesting to see how people tick. And the funny thing is just, we watch all these cases, and every time we sit and watch a case, you sit here and think, how can you be this stupid? How did you think you would get away with this? That's the thing that always chuffs my rough, is how do they think they can get away with all of these stupid things that they ordering cyanide to your own dentist office. Then when your coworker finds it, say, hey, please forget about it. Yeah. Aaron Spencer, Land of the Lost, like Karen Reed only. I can't decipher that one. Vision 12. What do they have? Oh yeah, that's very short. Let's watch that. So I didn't do false advertising. Audio wasn't that good.
Going to be a staff monitoring via camera from a different location. This placement is really supportive of Morgan growing and transitioning back into the community.
And again, for the record, with the GPS monitoring and the other issues that are covered in the latest conditional release plan, you don't believe there's any safety concerns for the community?
I do not. So GPS monitoring is done through DOC. So anytime that Ms. Geyser would be out of where she's supposed to be, the monitoring center in Madison is immediately notified, and a warrant can be put out for her arrest.
And again, under the terms of the plan, per my request, the GPS monitoring can't be removed without my prior approval.
That is correct.
Based on what seems to be the consensus that Sun Prairie really doesn't have standing to object, as both Attorney Cotton and I think the city attorney acknowledged, and more importantly, the findings of DHS that they had adequately investigated this facility, that given the protections that are contained in the plan, which I have reviewed, in great detail, which include but are not limited to GPS monitoring. I don't think there's anything inappropriate about this particular placement, and I will approve the conditional release plan as recently submitted. Anything else? Like anybody else want to be heard?
Your Honor, I appreciate you letting the city be here. The city would simply ask for some additional clarification, and perhaps we can have a conversation with Ms. Graffett afterwards about what we can do to communicate to our residents should this become a concern. Our big concern is public transparency. I don't think that Ms. Geyser deserves to be locked inside a house and never be allowed to see the sun. That's not an appropriate placement for anyone. That's inhumane. But I want to make sure that if our residents see her in the community, we have some sort of ability to respond. Like, yes, we were aware, we're comfortable with the plan in place. And I appreciate that everyone is bound by a very strict statute in terms of what they can release to us. But I think anything that we would be able to share with our residents, that we were informed of the placement, that the court approved the plan after ensuring that our residents would be safe, that there is this GPS monitoring, anything that we would be able to share to our residents to kind of assuage some of their safety.
I'm fairly certain Ms. Rob would be happy to participate in those kind of discussions. Is that right, Ms. Rob?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And I would encourage it. I believe they will do everything possible. This is obviously a difficult situation for everybody. We are trying to balance. We got a lot of spinning plates. We're trying to make it better for everybody moving forward. Let these guys move on with their life, keep the community safe. And I think this plan, and it took us a while to get here, don't get me wrong. I think this is a good balance of all of those concerns.
Yes, that's what I saw.
Anything else from anybody here today?
No, thank you, Judge.
Well, thank you. Anybody on video? Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
You do.
So it sounds like she is going to be sent out with a GPS tracker and be put in a halfway house. And then Kathy asked, am I going to follow the Aaron Spencer case? Melanie has been telling about the case. Well, Kathy, let me take you. Is it already 2 weeks? Let me take you 2 weeks back in time. Jesus Christ, I'm oversaturated. That's bad lighting. I did a video on the Aaron Spencer case on the 17th of July. I really need to work on my lighting when I do these videos. I am keeping a close eye on Aaron Spencer. If you're not familiar, of course, go watch my video. It only has 700 views. A dad who wakes up in the middle of the night, hears his dog barking like crazy, and goes out to see what is going on. His daughter, who is 13, 14, is missing. And he calls the popo and says, we think he is with this a-hole who has groomed her and abused her before. I'm going looking for them. He finds them in a truck together. He starts chasing the truck, forces it off the road. And when the truck is on the side of the road, he tells, with his wireless hole puncher in his hand, tells the man, hey, let my daughter go. And apparently he wouldn't let her out of the truck, which for me is an important part of the story. And then allegedly he rushes at Aaron. Aaron empties his clip into him. For good measure, he jumps on him and pistol whips him. Stands up, calls the popo, and stays at the scene, says, yeah, this asshole who has 43 charges pending for bad stuff with minors, 4 of which was against Aaron's daughter, who is the only witness against him. I pew-pewed him because he attacked me. And the popo said, no, you didn't. You unalived him. Took him to prison, gave him $180,000 bond. Sorry if I'm wrong with the numbers. It's 2 weeks since I covered it. He pays his bond. They try to set up a GoFundMe. Yeah, I think it's a GoFundMe they use, which is taken down because you can't make money off your crime. There since apparently has been another GoFundMe made for the family that is allowed, but this man, in my opinion, took out the trash. I'm a dad of 2 wonderful young women. I have spent many a day not fantasizing because it's not nice to do, but wondering what I would do in the same situation. We're not allowed to have cordless hole punchers in Denmark, but I think I could find someone who could get me one, and I would probably have done some of the same things. Apparently, the victim is a former police officer or chief somewhere else. He is, by all accounts, a massive piece of crap and should be sent off this planet. He was let out with either $20,000 or $25,000 bond with pending sexual harassment charges, not harassment, but really bad stuff pending against him. And he then got the girl again. How she got out of the house, why she got out of the house, we haven't heard about. Most likely, she was groomed earlier and have been abused of this absolute piece of crack. Only 5,000. 43 previous cases. Yeah, it's an absolutely crazy case out of Arkansas. They claim that he cold-bloodedly unalived him, which I probably still would say, jury nullification, what's that? Can we do that in this case? But he will be tried for, I think it's second degree, again, sorry. Former sheriff and military man, yeah. He is a PDF file. He is a PDF file. Zimbabwe isn't a state, it's a country. I think he was trying to take her to unalive her because she was a witness against her. Yeah, that's my thought is he lured her out of the house, most likely because he groomed her. And we know groomed people don't make rational decisions because they've been groomed. That's kind of in the description. And when he said he wouldn't let her out of the car, one of the things I have had my worst grape case was a man accused of 8 grapes. And back then we don't have the same rules we have today where you have to give consent or show consent by participating in the act. Back then you would have to have been physically withheld or threatened directly. It wasn't enough that you were afraid of him. He had to say, do it or I will do that. So we were sitting with a case where we really, really wanted to convict this guy because he was absolutely crazy. And he mistreated these poor women immensely. But because of the roles or the rules, we had to say, okay, where can we find that he did these things? Because he was just manipulating the women to do the stuff. He didn't directly say, I'm going to. So with the no consent rule not in place back then, it was a little bit harder. But one of them was she tried to open the door and he closed it. Okay, that's restraining her. Boom. That's rape. Grape, sorry. So to me, when he denied her to leave the car, I think this man was just acting to free her daughter of kidnapping. Because if she's in a car, she can't leave the car, and he's telling him, let her go. It's a minor child. He has no right to have that minor child in the car. He had a stay away order placed upon him. So by denying her to leave the car, I see this as he kidnapped the kid. I am not a lawyer. I don't know anything about the law, but in my mind, he kidnapped the kid. And if he then, after that, rushes him, hey, you already should have been put sideways into Lord Chippy. But now, I don't cry. I see it as justified. The more eyes on it, the better. The judges and oars that Bev and he's a bigger ass than Bev and Gull combined. Yes, because there was a gag order put in place, and that gag order has been overturned by the Supreme Court because it was absolutely ridiculous. He wasn't allowed to talk about the case. You can put a gag order on his lawyers, but can you put a gag order on a suspect in a case? He can't talk about his case, but then in handwritten notes said it also extends to his family. This would mean that the girl who most likely will spend most of her the rest of her life in some sort of therapy wouldn't be able to talk to her therapist about it because there was a gag order on the entire family. This is absolutely crazy. I'm not American, but I know you have, I think it's 3 amendments. You can talk, you can carry a wireless hole puncher, and you are allowed to eat cheesecake even though it's the most horrible food on the planet. I think those are the 3 amendments in your Constitution. But you can't deny the entire family to talk about the case, especially the victim. The victim of the kidnapping wasn't allowed to talk about it. I've never, ever seen that in any case. I know that the lawyers in Karen Reed wasn't allowed to talk to the press, which is, it happens. But that's why Karen talked to the press, because couldn't put a gag order on her and take away her First Amendment rights, because she is also in the danger of incriminating herself with her testimony if she says something to the press. We saw that, how Hank Brennan brought it in. But putting a gag order on the entire family saying, you can't talk about this, luckily it was overturned, but still not a lot have come out from that gag order. But it's a very interesting case, and yes, I do have my eyes on it. I made a video on it. Horrible lighting, I could see. But go check it out, because it's a very, very interesting case. What are you allowed to do if someone takes your kid away? He did call 911, and then he finds them, and he won't let her leave the car, even though he has a stay away order. Are you just standing there and saying, well, you have to let her go? I'm calling the cops. And how long are you supposed to wait? What if he drives off with your kid in the car? Down with M and her fake country. M is nice. Don't be, Zach. Don't be, just because she claims she's Australian, we know that doesn't exist. Be nice with it. I'm fine with some good old jury nullification like Gary Plouch. It's the same thing with Gary Plouch. Yeah. I don't mind it. Yeah. Well, Australia doesn't exist. It's known. People know this. Bet the judge keeps out all the reasons the father defendant went to save his daughter. He can't do that. I bet you he can't do that. He called 911, but got to him before the cops, called them back and told cops, don't hurry, he found him. No, he said, don't hurry, he's on the ground dead. Those are what we call the big 3, yes. For you, cheesecake is the most important. It doesn't exist because how can... I actually talked about this in my morning show. The Earth, that has a curvature. That's because it's laying on the back of the celestial turtle. But you can't have countries on the bottom of the celestial turtle. How would that be possible? I know there's some weirdos who claims the Earth is flat. It's absolutely not. I've seen mountains. But it's because it's resting on the back of the celestial turtle. But as it's laying there can only be the top side. All that that people claim is down below doesn't exist. When is the Aaron Spencer trial? I don't know. I don't know if it has. I know it doesn't have it. It doesn't have an upcoming court date yet, as far as I believe. When I did my video, they just started releasing the transcripts or the indictments and stuff like that after the gag order was removed. So, and that was the 17th of July. I did that video. So I don't think they have a court date set up yet. Maybe they're going to downgrade it. Krusty's lawyer didn't show up, apparently because of traffic, so Krusty has to come back. I put it down somewhere. I think 2 weeks or something. It is slated for September, pre-trial August. The article I read, they hadn't put it up, but yeah, okay. It sure doesn't sound like the judge will let it be aired. Not with the gag order he put on it, but I hope they will, because I think we will see a jury notification in that one. Pre-trial August 22nd. Thank you, Virginia. He needs a change of when you then recuse the judge. His lawyer is a pit bull. Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on it because, hey, if you want to touch kids, the gag order on the family was to try to prevent them from raising funds. It's total BS. Yeah, the ones who complained to Give Send Go or GoFundMe, whoever it was, and said they are making money off of crime. I was dumbfounded because I have seen many people raising money for their legal defense. One of them is Aidan Carney, who, if you have the opportunity, you can support his legal defense fund as well, because he has a lot of upcoming expenses with all the stupid charges against him. So consider it if you may. But I've seen a lot of people raise money. That family from the track meet stabbing, they got a lot of money through that as well. All of a sudden, you're not allowed to do it. Someone must have complained to Give Send Go to take it down. Yeah, that Supreme Court opinion was a doozy. Euthanasia or anything just depends on who, if any, complains about it. If the right person complains, then they'll take it down. Yeah, and that's what I see with this one, is they took it down because someone complained. And with that gag order, I can kind of make a guesstimated guess who did it. Oh, I'm not allowed to say guesstimated. But on a lighter note, the happy face killer wants Brian Koberger to be his cellmate. Brian Koberger has an unexpected ally in form of serial killer Keith Jepson, also known as the happy face killer. Jepson told the lighter side of true crime he believes Koberger's best bet in transferring to the Oregon State Penitentiary, where Jepson is being held for life. Koberger is currently serving 4 life sentences in Idaho's maximum security prison. The best bet for Koberger is to come to Oregon and spend his time here, Jepsen told the podcast. This would be a great place for him to fall into. Jepsen believes Koberger's crimes and his reported quirks will make Koberger a target and perhaps worse. He's going to have some problems. Don't get me wrong here, Jepsen said of Koberger's setting in Oregon, but he's not going to be facing the hardships he probably would in Idaho. Keith Rowe, host of The Lighter Side of True Crime with Keith Rowe, joined Banfield on Wednesday night to discuss his interview with Jepsen. While noting prison transfers happen more than you think, he said it would be very difficult for Koberger to be moved. Rover told News Nation he believes Jepsen has already written a letter to the Idaho Supermax prison and will be writing a letter to Koberger after doing the same with other notorious murderers, such as Charles Manson and Rex Heuermann. I don't know. Heuermann. Koberger is going to have a hard time in prison for unaliving women in the fashion he did, according to Rover. You can't stare down people. His stare is dead set straight on. Even during the victim impact statement, you can see him just dead on. That's going to be a problem. Who is the happy face killer? Jepsen was convicted of unaliving 8 women, earning his nickname by drawing smiling faces on many of his letters to the media and authorities before being arrested in 1995. He claimed he unalived as many as 160 people while working as a trucker. It's T-Rex. But only 8 victims was confirmed. Although Jepsen committed his unalivings in the 1990s, some of his victims has only recently been identified. A woman he called Carla or Cindy, who was unalived in 93, was identified as Patricia Skipley in 2022, and a woman he referred to only as Suzanne, unalived in 1994, was identified as Suzanne L. Kjellenberg. That sounds Norwegian. In 2023, Jepsen is known to write to various public figures and has sent notes and arts to News Nation's own Ashley Banfield and Laura Ingle. Koberger was transferred from the Ada County Jail to the Idaho Maximum Security Institution after receiving 4 life sentences for the 4 stabulations in Idaho. Koberger will likely be held in long-term restricted housing and what's known as a close and protective custody. These types of housing is meant for prisoners who could be injured by inmates in a general population or who would hurt others. Those inmates spend 23 hours a day inside their cells with food and water fed through doors into their cells. When Ensign was in the cell block, he saw inmates engaging in a practice called fishing, which involves using strings from blankets or t-shirts to send notes under the doors. Well, even that is too good for that a-hole. But let's make a serial killer camp in, was it Oregon? Yeah, in Oregon. Go Ducks and serial unalivers. Yeah, let it be a problem. He's in the same block as Chad Daybell. Interesting. I never got into any of the Daybells. I don't know anything about that. Sadly. The Happy Face Killer, I thought that whole thing was a myth. Well, it's not Valhalla. He apparently was a trucker who drew smiley faces. We just saw a true crime-inspired series about a similar serial unaliver that operated in Germany and Austria. He was a Romanian trucker. Interesting. Yeah, some of these truckers, especially because there is a lot of young ladies who sadly have to make a living by doing the oldest trade in the world. No, I'm not talking about washing clothes. And a lot of them service truckers because they are alone on the road a lot. We have a stretch of highway. Well, we don't have it. It's down in, I believe it's Poland, where it's just mile after mile of young, scantily clad women very interesting when we drove past it when I was in the 10th grade. Now I'm just sad thinking about it. But all of these women, who's going to miss them? Their pimp? If they're drug addicts, and most of them in Europe, most of them will come from the Eastern Bloc somewhere, Belarus, Ukraine somewhere, and then go to Poland and stand on that road. Back then, I don't know if it still exists. But who's going to miss them? They're just another victim for poverty and drugs. So they are easy targets for truckers. Hey, Peggy, how are you doing? Can we use him as an appetizer for the guards at Alligator Alcatraz? Yeah, chum in the water. Ant-Men. Yeah, well, along that road isn't where a lot of the men stood. There's a movie about the smiley face. I never knew that lifestyle existed. No, I've never heard about him before. Be like Poland. Don't be like Poland. They eat weird food. No, he wanted him to go to Oregon, Valhalla. Sometimes you should see the show. I do make sense if you listen to all of it instead of just picking the parts that you think is wrong. The smiley face killer wants Koberger to go from Idaho to Oregon, where the smiley face killer is, because he wants to have a roommate. Koberger and Daybell is in the same prison, but not the same unit. Daybell is on death row. We have them in Australia too, but not many. Yeah. It was really hard catching him because of privacy laws in Germany and Austria preventing the police working together over borders. That was an edit to your last comment. I don't read your comments. I just yell at you when you yell at me. Yes, the hearing was 6 minutes. The part of it that we saw, there was a technical problem, so we didn't see the live feed. But apparently, she's going to be released to a halfway house and has to wear a GPS monitor 24/7. And that GPS monitor will then alert the police if and when she leaves the area she's allowed to be. Someone must have suggested, because the judge talked about it wouldn't be right to deny him her sunlight. So someone must have been arguing that she should be confined to that house 24/7. But as I understood what they talked about, she will be fitted with a GPS tracker and be at some halfway house type of thing. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. Prisoners, especially lifers, are often moved to other states for a variety of reasons. You never know, but why go to Oregon? His family is on the East Coast. Oregon is on the West Coast. It's next to Oklahoma. No, it's just below Oklahoma, out on the West Coast. So, and we know his family didn't have enough money to come visit him. So if you were going to transfer, wouldn't you transfer closer to your family so you at least could, I don't know if they want to talk to him, but if you were going to transfer. We watched chats and 2 of Laurie's verdicts live. We follow JJ Wallow's Aunt Kresha on here. Difficult research. She only has 13,000 in her research into LDS cults. Huh. Oh, your son's friend works at the Supermax in Colorado. Interesting. They don't take into account the family. Richard Allen supposedly has been moved to Arizona. Okay. They don't give a... Well, Oregon is north of California and south of Washington State. Yes, and Oregon and Oklahoma, you have Oregon, and then Oklahoma is slightly above and to the right of Oregon. I know this. I have taken geography, know your American states, with the expert who have taught me that every state that starts with the same letter is right next to each other. So That's why North Dakota and North Carolina is also right next to each other. It's just there was some rule I think they made back when they made the states that every state that begins with the same letter must be next to each other, not to confuse anyone. Allegedly, maybe it's what I've been told by the expert. The Oregon-Oklahoma border is easy to find. Yeah, because it's right there in the corner. Oh, they moved them away. Well, I don't have much. What I know about American prison systems, I've learned from Blood In, Blood Out. I'm really old. Every time I hear Oklahoma, I want to bust down and sing. I've never seen that movie or that musical. No. Ask the expert. He will say it's true what I'm saying. Charlie Alderson was transferred from Florida to Idaho for his safety. He's on death row. Save the taxpayers some money. That's why it's so ridiculous that Sarah Boone is bitching about her son not being able to visit or him moving to a different area in Florida. She could literally be moved to anywhere in the country. And it would be the best for the son if that woman was moved to Washington State and she would never see them again. Washington State is up northwest. Every state that begins with a W has to be on the West Coast. Another thing I learned from the expert. I will have geography on a budget, and I will invite the expert on so he can tell you the truth about how geography works in America. Oregon is next to Idaho. Norway have the world's best prison. They are like condos. Well, you haven't seen a Danish prison. Come on. What is the name of? Yeah, Emnemark. This is our highest rated security prison in Elmarka, Denmark. This is it's not that far away from where my daughter lives, actually. So you have this prison, and at that prison you can work with carpentry, at the furniture store, some I don't know how to say, it's just assembling stuff at the metal shop, cleaning, and working in the landscaping area. You can also get an education if you want to do that. You can do like your basic high school levels, and you can also get hygiene, first aid, and then ADL is how to live your life normally. And you can get treated for drugs if you want to do it, by cognitive treatments and anger management. They have an activity house with a shop, a library, church, music room, and a sports, a gymnasium, and an outdoors the fake grass to play football on. And in the units there is the possibility to do like cardio, billiard, table tennis, and more. If you want to have if you want to go visit, you have to apply this place. So this is our most I thought there was some pictures of it. I have to look at the pictures. You will see how tough we are on crime in Denmark. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Don't they have from the inside? These are from the architects website, the ones who built or drew the prison. Look how nice it is. I think I can find some pictures of the cells as well, and you will love it. You want to come to Denmark and be a criminal. It's not the best picture, but you can kind of tell what it is. So if you go to prison, you get one of these shitty 70s bed sofas. They're not the best. Got your own bathroom. You got your own TV. You got a little window you can look out of, and you got a table and chair. So if you want to go to prison in Denmark, you will get these horrible, horrible conditions if you are convicted of one of the most heinous crimes. It's a bit different than what you see in America. Yeah, it's way nicer. The only thing is that shitty bed. We slept on that when I was in school. It's like a fold-out bed, so you can put the backrest down, and then it'll be a little more than a single bed. If you're young and in love, you can sleep two on it. But yeah, this is a supermax prison cell in Denmark. Stay one in the room. You have your own toilet, and have your own TV. You have everything. This is better than most hospital rooms. In Denmark, we have the joke: when you get old, go rob a bank, because you would rather stay in prison than you would in an old folks' home. Oh, you have that. This is our supermax. If you go to like, we have you would probably in America call it the jail. We have a jail down in my town because we have a courtroom. Have a court in my town, so you can serve your time in that, and that's a little shitty. You'll get a cell, you get a bed, you'll still get your television with your satellite channels, especially the ones with the naughty movies on, so you can release the pressure. But that's old school, but that's built back maybe 100 years ago. But modern prisons are more like a hospice or something like that. Yeah, it looks like a dorm, but remember, we have a different view of punishment in Denmark. We have this belief that if we just teach you skills enough, you will stop being a criminal, and it works all the time because our recidivism level is just slightly below Americans. So actually, studies have found no matter if you treat them like crap or you treat them like kings, 85 to 95% will return to crime, because it's not the punishment, it's the lifestyle. And you can't fix the lifestyle, because they would have to say goodbye to every friend they have and all their drug abuse, and they will go right out to the world they left. They don't go out and say, well, I don't want to be a criminal anymore. I'm going to say bye-bye to all my friends. They'll go right back out on the street, and most of them will end up reoffending. So it's the good old the whip or the carrot, which one will make the donkey move fastest? Studies show none of it really changes anything. So I think it's a good idea that you can help the ones who can be helped, but a lot of them are just going back into the system all the time, which is sad. But what can you do? It's their choice, and sadly, that's how it happens. We have a TV show about a women's prison as well, where they go into. It's what we call the closed prison. You have open, that's where you can go out and work and stuff like that. You just have to be there and sleep at night and stuff like that. And then you have the closed is where you have to be there. There's a little more control. And these women, they just treat it like it's a vacation. And they sit in prison, talk about how they're just going to go out and do the same amount of drugs, and oh, it's so bad that you can't do drugs in here, and blah blah blah. Which means there's no way of rehabilitating them. You can let them have all the jobs or all the therapy, but it's like we started the show talking about mental health problems. If you're not willing to accept that there's something wrong with you, you can't be fixed. We've had jokes about sending our elderly to prison and convict felons to nursing home. Yeah, we use the same one. We have supermax that look more like yours too. I was just saying there's a wide variety. Most of our prisons are old concrete blocks. Yeah, if you go into the places where you will stay for 3 months to a year, you'll be in more like a cell-like environment. But this is supermax and remember, Denmark don't give long punishments. A murder is normally 12 years in prison. The nice prison in Norway, you may get to transfer to those towards the last part of your sentence before entering society again. Oh, here it's the bad people who go there. What crime would I have to commit to get a setup like that? Something that would land you in prison more than 6 years, I would think. So 6 keys of Colombian marching powder could probably end you somewhere like that. You're pretty wise. You should start your own YouTube channel. Well, I can't because Jamie owns me. Haven't seen Zach in chat for a bit. So number 1, baby. Well, Zach got scared away about your number 1-ness. Iceland prisoners stays in Danish prisons as well. No, Greenland. People from Greenland will stay here because Iceland made a stupid getaway in 1942 when America occupied them and got them freedom. So they are not part of the greatest kingdom on the planet anymore. Hey, Cornish. Who is the most notorious Danish criminal? Right now, I would. It depends. Economical crime. It's a guy called Steinbacher who had like a shell company where he was just selling nothing to a lot of companies and boosting value, and who ended up stealing, I think, like 250 million Danish, which would be 70-80 million American or something like that, I think. If we're talking about unalivers, there are 2. We have one who actually unalived his mom when he was in America. And then when he was released, he came back here and then he unalived his girlfriend and her 2 sons. This is this fella who kind of came back, and because he was known for unaliving his mom, he started doing some poetry, and they had him on TV. And doing the interview, he just did a half blackface. Not like he's a weirdo, but he came back to Denmark and found a girlfriend who had 2 young sons. He ended up unaliving all 3 of them, and we have never found the bodies of him. But he's very famous. He is put away for life. He's one of the few who have had life in prison. And the next one is Peter Madsen, who he was kind of known as the Danish Elon Musk. A lot of people like to call him that. He's the guy who took a Swedish journalist into his submarine. He had a home-built submarine. What could ever go wrong? And somewhere along that journey, he unalives this Swedish journalist, and she has never been found. He comes back the next morning and claims that he had put her outside of Copenhagen, because back in the days when you had the big naval battles, you had like forts out there that you could have cannons on. And he said, well, I left her at this place. And they go looking for her. They don't find her. And I remember my brother were back at my mom and dad's house the morning when he came back in with the boat, and they had a camera on him. And I looked that up and I said, that guy did it. And my brother said, no, he said he let her off on its place called Sakona Fort. I said, no, this guy, he effing did it. You could tell when he walked past the camera, he effing did it. He said, well, I left her off and because there was a malfunction with the submarine. He in court then claims that the hatch fell on her head and crashed her head or broke her neck or something like that. And that's why he had to cut her to pieces and throw her overboard, because that's what happens when you have an accident. It's a big problem. You turn it into a small problem. And he chose to do that by cutting this lady up and disposing of the body. This guy is a whack job. I did a paper on him when I took B-levels B-level psychology. He was really weird because he had a weird he had some weird sexual fantasies, and apparently he was doing really well with the ladies, and but he had a lot of he liked to dominate and stuff like that. Another one that's famous, but he's not that famous, but the case is very famous, is the murder of Mia Skadhaus Sten, who got abducted in abducted. She disappeared after a night out. She'd been out. It was right after the second bout of lockdowns had happened. She was in a town called Aalborg, where we have a street where it's just bars and nightclubs. She's been there, been out drinking at around 6:15 in the morning. That's the last time people see her. She's found, or she's seen out on the road on a surveillance camera going into a car. And they didn't know what really, who it was or what had happened. But then a few days later, they arrest 2 men, the 36, 37-year-old men. And one of them is being released almost instantly, and the other one is kept. And then the police confirms, and this is like 6 days after, that they have found body parts that they believe is from Mia. And the case is kind of weird because they arrest this man, and this man claims that he was out driving. He liked to drive into town and watch people having fun, something. So he was driving around. He had a GPS device on his car that he had installed because it was supposed to be able to turn it off. But when the police looks at it, it doesn't really turn off because either he installed it the wrong way or something. So they are able to download all the data from his car, which shows him picking up Mia, driving around in the town of Aalborg, driving up north, making a stop in a wooded area, going further north, making another stop in a wooded area, and then going home. He claims they had been driving around. He had picked her up because she looked cold. She was going outside on the 6th of February with no jacket on. So he was just being helpful. And when she got into the car, like you ladies do, she started getting a little playful and wanted to, as you women want. And they drove into the first wooded area because he was talking about how he'd been in the military and nothing get the engine going on a 21-year-old woman, like a man telling how he used to be a sergeant. Sergeants who talk about being sergeants usually were the worst sergeants in the world. And he then claimed they went up to look where there's a barracks in the north of that town, Aalborg. It's fun barracks to be at because you can go in the party street. But then they drive out into the wooded area. In the wooded area, she gives him a mouth hug to begin with. But because he either came too fast or it was something he couldn't get hard, she was laughing at him and he didn't like that. But they get into the car, and because she is really, really horny, she says, well, can we do it again? I really want to have sex with you, because that's what young women want in the middle of the night, very drunk, in a stranger's car, is a lot of smecks. So he drives to the other wooded area where she wants to have smecks with him in the forest on the 6th of February, where the ground is frozen. Again, typical, absolutely not unbelievable story. And he then claims she runs from the car and he sees her falling and hears like a crack. And he goes over there and she has snapped her own neck with the band from her purse. And he puts her in the back of the car where she's making weird noises. And he want to drive her to the hospital. And they say, why don't you call the police? No, I just wanted to drive her to the hospital. No problem. And he starts driving towards the hospital. No, actually, he drives away from the hospital. And they then ask, why did you drive home? Well, she was making funny noises, and I did first aid, so I knew she was dead. He goes home and apparently puts her in his bed. Why? Don't know. But he then cries and drinks and do that. And then he goes to work the next day. And on the way home from work, he stops at like a Lowe's or somewhere to get some saw blades and some stuff. Because if you have a big problem, you should always make it smaller. That's good thinking from this guy. So he cuts her up in 240 something, 43 pieces. Some of it he tries to destroy with acid and stuff like that, but he gets bored of that, so he doesn't really dissolve that much of it, but there's still pieces missing of her. So he drives out into another wooded area and wants to bury the remains. But because he's a stupid criminal, he starts by digging some of it down, and it doesn't really go that deep. And then the rest of it he just puts on the ground. The cadaver dogs finds it instantly. He was put in prison for life. No one believed his story. During the trial, we then learned that he apparently really liked them young. He had been in a relationship with I think a 14-year-old when he was 25 or something, where he lied and said he was 16. And then she saw some ID, and she was like, "How old are you really?" "Well, I lied to you. I'm 18." And he was way older. He also had stalked a lot of women and stuff like that. Really, really bad case. But that's the Mia case. That was a big case because it's not every day you hear a body cut into 243 pieces. So yeah, that's a famous one. And then the last big one was what was that? That was actually also yeah, that was the murder of a young woman called Emilia Meng, who disappeared at was it New Year's? I'm just trying to. No, it was in during the summer. She is out partying with her friends. They say goodbye to her at the train station, and she starts walking home around 4 a.m. And no one sees her anymore. There's no surveillance camera. There's no nothing. Someone says they might have seen her down somewhere talking to someone in a car, but no one really knew what happened. And everyone kind of started getting a little crazy. How can a girl disappear in little Denmark? And there was a lot of volunteers running around looking for the body and stuff like that. And there was 3 people who was suspect. There was a truck driver and a 67-year-old guy whose house was ransacked 5 times. And there was, which is really bad because in those small communities, a lot of people thought he had done it. But there was, they believe that they thought that, well, she might have just escaped and wanted to do something else, or she had in an accident. No one knew. But on Christmas Eve, remember in Denmark we have Christmas on the 24th. She was found in an area not that far from, about an hour away from where she lived. And they, the only thing they could say was she had been, it's been a very bad crime done to this lady. And they kept looking and looking and looking, and they never really found anything other than they found a surveillance camera that shows a light colored car, but they can't tell the make and mark of the car or anything. And that got really a lot of people, hey, would you let your girls go out alone and stuff like that? Always have a partner when you walk home. But no one knew what happened. But then in 2023, a guy was arrested because he had abducted and raped a 13-year-old girl who was doing her paper routes. And when they looked into the evidence, they could connect him to the unaliving of Emilia Meng. And there was another case where he had tried to rape and abduct another girl. And that got the whole ball rolling again. So after she disappeared in 2016, and because he abducted and raped this young kid, and luckily they found him before he unalived her. Bad stuff happened, but still, she could have been passed away. Because of that, they found evidence that linked him to the Emilia Meng disappearance. And he claimed he didn't do anything with the Emilia Meng, and he didn't do the school one who got away, but he claimed that he did some of the things with the 13-year-old. But he was found guilty by a unanimous verdict. And how long did he get? Yeah, he will be in prison for life. He has made an appeal, but that was such a weird case because it took so long, and there was absolutely nothing. And Denmark is a very small country. Remember, we are 6 million people. We are smaller than most big cities in America. And people don't just disappear here. It's really hard. It's not like America where you can say, well, I live in New York. I'm going to go to the middle of the country to Minnesota and take a new identity. If you disappear in Denmark, someone will see you. If I fart, my neighbor will tell me what I had to for dinner last night. And this one went unnoticed. And just because he snatched a 13-year-old girl on her paper route, sadly, he had enough time to grape her, but they found her before she was unalived. A 6-year-old case was solved. So crazy. In most of Europe, Christmas decor doesn't go up until December 24th. No, it'll go up on December 1st is when you put up your decor. We have your Christmas on December 24th. Then you will take most of it down on December 26th or 7th. And the Christmas tree must be taken down at what do you call it? We call it Holy Three Kings. That's the night, the day named for the holy man. But in the first week of January, you'll chuck out your Christmas tree. Yeah, the country is very small. It's you can bike to most of the other towns. What case was that? The one we talked about earlier, Aaron Spencer, most likely. She's the one who admitted she did it and then withdrew it, right? And said, I did it to help him. I saw that court appearance. She seems loco. Epiphany. I don't know helligtræ konger in English. Helligtræ konger in. It's easier if you just called everything the same we did. Yeah, Epiphany, or the Feast of the Epiphany. We call it Holy Three Kings Day. So you should do that. It rolls straight off the tongue. Have you escaped from New York and hid? Oh, did the hearing happen already? Yeah, the hearing wasn't televised. We saw like 3.5 minutes. Apparently, she will be placed in a halfway house with a 24/7 GPS on her. No one ever talks about Swedish nanny who was cut in half in Boston in 1996. She dated cops. I'm not the right person to talk about that because as a Dane, we have a different view on the Swedes. Are you live still? I just got in. It's storming, and I did a video of Gloucester, or as it's in Valhalla, it'll be Gloucester City. It's so much legal history, but I was able to film before the thunder and rain. I'm glad. Well, I'm still live. I'm just filling time. In my head, I just heard Holy Three Kings, Batman. In 12 hours, I can probably drive to Munich. I could probably... In 12 hours, I could... Could I make it to Norway? No. I could make a good dent of if I drove through Sweden. I probably could make it to Norway. I could make it to Sweden, make it to Germany, could make it to Holland, Belgium, France. I don't think I could make it to Switzerland. That's too far down. and maybe not France either. Make it to Holland, Belgium, Germany, Sweden, potentially Norway, Poland. If I take the ferry, I can do it. Yeah, that's probably where I could get in 12 hours. It already happened, Brett. If you combine Rogaland country and the neighboring county of Vestland, they are larger than all of Denmark. Norway have 15 counties. Yeah, and you're less people than we are. You're only like 4 million, 4.5 million. We call January 6th Old Christmas. Isn't January 6th either Chinese or Jewish Christmas? Well, they don't have Christmas, but the equivalent. How long till you come to? How long to come to England? Well, 3 hours to go to Copenhagen, then 2 hours in a plane. I can't drive there. Whoop whoop! Stay out of Sweden, but enjoy it. Get your walking shoes ready, and go see all the beautiful places. Oh, you're more than 5.5 now. Oh. Yeah, we bumped it. We've always been 5.5, and now we're 6. Oh, it's Orthodox Christmas. That's this January 6th. Thank you. 12-hour drive is Atlanta from Detroit for me. Little Christmas is the 23rd. I feel sorry for her. As a famously anti-Swede, I feel sorry for her. Sweden is a place for cheaters and occupiers of Danish country. We don't like Swedes on this channel. Give us back Skåne, Halland og Blekinge. Emspire, get some sleep. Yeah, when I was born, it was probably just about 5 million back then. Yeah, we call it Holy Three Kings, is what we call it. Does who really look like what now? I think you are not the same. Oh, on the thumbnail, that's how she looked at her last hearing. There was talk about her having gender dysphoria and either soft transitioning or wanting to hard transition. Which is a whole other topic that we can't really talk about on YouTube. But the picture in the thumbnail is how she looked at the last hearing. Everyone was kind of shocked when we saw it because she used to have long hair. And then she came in with that weird porcupine hairstyle. And they talked about her. That's why one of the reasons why it got delayed was because she was having her gender dysphoria, and is she then really healed? But we can't discuss if gender dysphoria is a mental illness or not, because it's of course not, according to the DSM-3 or something. She's gonna have a hard time on the outside with resources. I hope. Oh, the DSM-5, yeah. Is the halfway house that she'll go into for females only? We don't know, because there was only a very, very short clip where we came in the middle of them talking about something, and the judge asking, the GPS, will I be notified if they want to take it off? Yes. Okay. But and then someone talked about how it was good because she could still get some sunlight. That's all we had. There was technical difficulties in court, so there's only like 3.5 minutes of the court proceeding that has been shown today. So she'll be going to a halfway house with a 24/7 bracelet. But think that's about all I can wrench out of this stone. And yeah, I will keep my eyes open. If anything, I'll hope Marissa might be able to get a Zoom link for Gattani's court tomorrow. If it's on Zoom, it's not all of them that's on Zoom, but if anyone can get it, it's Jemima and Marissa in combination. They are really good at finding all of these things. You should all put the clapping emoji for Jemima and Marissa in chat. It's 1 o'clock here, so I'm going out to see my friend now. Bye. Panella, see you later. Perhaps. It depends on we can get the Lindy Garani. You find me a trial. Sorry that it wasn't that much about the Slender Man, but we did get to talk about depression, mental health. Remember, it's not a bad thing to ask for help if you feel a little bit troubled. It's good for you. We got to talk about famous Danish cases, and we got to talk about my favorite subject, why Sweden is the worst place on the planet and should go back under the dominion of Denmark because they have never had it as good as when we ruled them. It's the same with Norway. We are a magnificent overlord, and we are gentle to our subordinates, and we want our money, Fedorowski. Do you think I get paid? Have you met Jamie? Thank you so much. Do all the stuff, and if you're looking at the Aaron Spencer case, I did I think it's like 12-15 minutes video. Not a lot of people watched it, but it has all the facts, so you can get up to date on that. We will also be keeping an eye on that because when where the state apparently sees a bad man, I see a trash collector who just took out the trash.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So there-
Everybody has.